Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Thursday night's edition of Paranormal Question a Day. We'll be right back after a short message. And welcome back, everybody. Short little intro there. So tonight we have a special guest with us. We have Mr. Tim from Souls Paranormal, and his wife Kate could not make it tonight, but we'll move on. We'll get her on the next show. So, uh, other than that, Tim, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Hearing the birds chirping in the background, and it's always a good sign to hear that. The birds are happy, so it's a good day. So,
Great day to be outside.
absolutely. Uh, so, for those of you who are just joining in, Thursday nights are Paranormal Question of the Day. We used to be on Mondays, but I did switch it up to Thursdays. I believe it's a better time of the week. Newer times instead of 8 p.m. We're at 7 p.m. now, just for that because we all have lots to do, and why not have a little bit of an earlier time for our shows? That way, we're not running into their night to doing stuff, other things. So, other than that, Tim, you want to give a uh, brief update about you and how you got into the paranormal and stuff like that?
Absolutely. So, my name is Tim. I'm with Two Souls Paranormal Research. Um, so, when I was little, I experienced, paranormal events. As I continued to grow up, I experienced more paranormal events. And as I became an adult, I decided that I wanted to do my own research on, why I was experiencing the things I experienced. And so that's kind of where it started. Um, so, yeah, I mean, we started making our own equipment about 2 years ago, and so far we've got some pretty good results with them. So
Okay. And did Kate come in as you started going doing the paranormal stuff and doing it together, or did you guys kind of meet on a separate path of paranormal?
yeah, so I had my own team before Kate and I met, and then we kind of disbanded, and then now like we made a whole new team about it was about 2 years ago. Kate and I, when we met, about a year into our relationship, is when we started it.
Okay, very cool. And so when you started out, it was FIB Paranormal, and now you have switched to Two Souls Paranormal. So for those of you out there, they did rebrand, and it's also due to gear and different locations, going investigations instead of a confusion of two different paranormal teams. They switched to two souls. So,
Yeah, there was a
uh,
little bit of confusion during the whole process where we didn't know if we wanted to keep Forever Investigating Beyond or so we switch everything over to Two Souls Paranormal. So we just ended up saying, let's just switch everything over to keep it non-confusing.
okay, and that makes sense. A total good business move, especially with the gear and stuff like that. So let's get into some of the investigations that you have been doing. What was your first investigation? How did that go? And what is your thought process when you go into that investigation?
My first ever investigation, I had no clue what I was doing. um, I went to, I believe it was Randolph County Asylum in Indiana. Again, no clue what I was doing. and I had very like minimal gear with me when I went. So I'm talking like a microphone, maybe a small REM device, and a grid pen and a flashlight. Obviously, I had my phone, but like I said, very basic. Um, and then as I continued to go like do investigations, I obviously got more gear like everybody else does. However, we disbanded. I kind of lost all my equipment from that, and then when Kate and I met, instead of purchasing everything again, I purchased a couple things, but I was like, I could probably research this stuff and see what I can do. And then it just kind of turned into what can I make that is not on the market that we experienced during our investigations. So that's kind of what it's leading to right now.
Okay. Do you have a favorite location you've been to so far?
We love going to Sleeper Mortuary. It's in Iola, Kansas. That's one of the favorite places that we like to go to. There's a lot of activity there, and I think we've been there like 7 times. So, um, below that, Melbourne Manor. We love going to Melbourne Manor. It's another very active location
Hmm.
in Iowa. So definitely check those places out if you're serious into paranormal research.
Absolutely. How has a location kind of like thrown you off a little bit and like I don't know if I want to go back to this location because it really didn't give enough feedback at all?
So to answer that question, I don't want to be controversial or anything,
Yep.
but we went to Trans Allegheny last year in September, and we it's just very unfortunate. Like you get 8 hours to investigate such a huge location,
Hmm.
and the walkthrough takes forever. Um, I think it took 2 hours just for like a basic tour, and then you get 6 hours to investigate. And the whole time we were there, we didn't get anything on any of our devices. So just to spend that kind of money
Yeah.
for like what they offer, I don't think is worth it. Now the history behind it is amazing, right? Like we
Right.
all want to know the history. The history of Tala is very dark.
Hmm.
But not to say that nobody's gonna experience what we experienced, but we didn't experience anything. So
Yeah. And that's completely understandable. I mean, there's some locations are, uh, and I'm going to be honest, they're overpriced. For what you
yes,
get back in return, it's is it worth a 10-hour drive? Is it worth a flight to go to a location like you said? Get 6 hours to investigate. You spend almost damn near $2,000 to do this location, and not get anything out of it, which I think is it's heartbreaking, but you're gonna
yeah,
get that locations that you're not gonna get nothing. But um yeah, I just don't agree with that. If you're gonna spend that kind of money, give at least 14, maybe 16 hours to investigate the location. Make it worth
yeah,
your
and
while.
I 100% agree with that. And I'm not saying that I'm going to experience something every time I go somewhere because that never happens, right? There's
Right.
numerous times that I've been to different places where I didn't experience anything, but I wasn't paying $1,500 to get into this place. You know, I wasn't given 6 hours to investigate. I was given 16 hours to investigate,
Hmm.
and I was able to kind of research on my own time, and I wasn't rushed.
Right. And that's the other thing too is when you feel like you're rushed. Okay, now we gotta put this out. We gotta put that out. We gotta put this
Right,
out. Then we gotta go through all our stuff. And then if they're looking for something in return after you investigate and come up with nothing, well, it's like, well, you really didn't give us time to fully get to use our equipment for this design location. And
right.
especially with a location like that, it has does was it like 3 or 4 different kind of buildings?
Well, so you get one building or the other. You get the main building or you get the medical building. You have to choose one or the other now. Um, so we chose the main building, and like there's 5 stories, and there's just like never-ending halls. And by the time that you go upstairs and start investigating, like time flies. It
Right.
flies like crazy, and you spend 2 hours upstairs in a single room. Next thing you know, you're down to like 3 hours remaining, and it's like I didn't even have the time to do anything.
Yeah.
So needless to say, like Talo was very, it was disappointing.
Yeah. And I
Um,
totally get that. I mean, you look at Waverly Hills. It's
mhm,
another example. You pay $1,500 and you get 8 hours of investigating time. But there again, you get to have a tour, unless you really know the building and say, "Hey, I really don't need a tour. I just want to get right to investigating." Same thing with Missouri State Penitentiary, $1,500, and that one
mhm,
is like you have to be in line with other people. So if like there's people during the day, you could not start until 10 o'clock at night.
right.
And by that time, it's like, well, gee, do I even want to start? You know,
Yeah, some of these places are, like you said, they're just kind of ridiculous on price and ridiculous on time. I think because they're known locations, things that we know that have a dark history, people are drawn to that. And you don't have to go to these places to be, to investigate the paranormal.
right?
Um, there's, 600, half that price you can go somewhere and investigate for 16 hours or longer.
Yeah.
So,
Malvern Banner is one of those locations as well.
yep.
And with Sleeper Mortuary, I'm sure you get a lot of time to do that as well. Um, and those are the things that's like, okay, you look at that, and it's Sleeper Mortuary is a 1,500 square foot mortuary location. And there's lots to go, or no, 15,000. Isn't 15,000?
Yeah, it's 5,000 square feet per floor. So there's a
That's
basement
what
and
I
then
thought.
2 stories. Yep.
Uh,
So it's 15. It's 15,000 square feet, 3 stories, and not to mention they have a great restaurant right like a block and a half down. So,
right, right. And then you got Malvern Manor, which is 10,000 square feet.
mhm.
That's got a lot of stuff in it for it too. And those are the two top locations that sit in my mind all the time of wanting to go to, which I have to get to more Super Mortuary, but that's going to take some time. I had to take off a whole weekend for that.
Yeah, we go whenever we go. We usually do a two-nighter. So
Yeah.
there's just so much activity there. A lot of our stuff that we upload is from Sleep Mortuary because I hear disembodied voices that you can actually hear. You don't need devices to hear it. You hear footsteps. You see shadow figures. It's crazy there.
Yeah. That's a thing that I like the most. Same thing with Malvern, Knox, Shadow People,
Hmm.
Disembodied Voices. It's just nonstop there once that gets rolling at Malvern. And I've only been there once, but it's like that's all you need to convince me of a location.
Right.
Uh, during the daytime, it's one location the way it is, but when it turns to nighttime, it totally flips on you. It's a whole
Yep.
different kind of animal. Um, so that's just one of those things how I perceive investigations. And so, speaking of investigations, when you go, are you constantly thinking like, okay, what would work best for a device at this location? What could I design to give me the best result at this location?
So we all have our favorite gear, obviously. Like we have an arsenal of gear, but then you have your top five or whatever have you. Um, so I guess my suggestion is to not use the same types of equipment that read the same things. A lot of people they're relying on EMF triggers, and they got a REM pod, they got a tripwire, and then they have a K2 meter, and all three of those devices measure EMF.
Hmm.
and that's what I generally don't understand. Really, is why are we using the same pieces of equipment that measure the same things, which is what has triggered me to start designing things, engineering things that you're not seeing on the market today. Because the things that we experience, that's what we're designing.
Hmm.
We feel the heaviness in a room, but what do we have that's able to detect that? We don't have anything. So I created the ESPM unit. It detects, um, air density, and it detects pressure. So it's just one of those that we we need to start using different pieces of equipment to capture different um, fluctuations in the environment. And I
Right.
see it often that it's not being done.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't use a REM pod or anything EMF if you have a cell phone. You know, I think that's silly because you get Wi-Fi waves, and you have cell phone data networks that's setting all those off, and
Hmm.
then you're just kind of stuck seeing people talk talk to a device that's really not being triggered by anything paranormal. So
Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, do you use the apps on your phone for investigations, or is that something you kind of lean away from?
I used to, I don't anymore.
Okay.
Only because like we honestly don't know how they work.
Hmm.
We're told how they work, but how do they work? Same thing with the Ovilus. We're being told how it works, but is that truly how it works? You know, like I can create something right now that'll just start spitting out words because the temperature changes. I don't understand something that I don't know. I don't know.
Oh
I
no,
can I
that's
can talk I can
logical.
talk about this for hours. So
Oh yeah. So that's an intelligent brain there that we're trying to figure that out. It's
yep.
each location you go to, it's like, okay, what can I do to make this experience better? What can I do to get this out of this and make the most use of what we have? Um, what's been the most unorthodox and outside the box piece of device you've used on an investigation that you're like, that was a different way of going about it, but I got the result I was looking for.
Um, so we use different pieces of equipment that measure different things always. We don't use generally like the same pieces of equipment over and over again, or set the same pieces of equipment that measure the same things. So we set out different pieces of equipment that measure different things always. And what I found is that if you ask spirits to do something for you, most of the time they're not going to. But
Mhm.
if you and I are sitting there talking like we are right now, I feel like a lot of times like they want to be involved in the conversation, and they'll start triggering these devices without having to be told to.
Yeah, then that makes sense because we're not paying attention to them.
Right.
You know, I've seen that happen a lot at different locations I've been to, um, and yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I was at a church convent and school out in Jericho, and things just started happening without us really, you know, talking amongst ourselves and um, talking about the building, and all of a sudden things started moving. So
Well, if you think of it this way, if you and I have a conversation every day and I ask you the same questions every day, how tired of how tired of me are you going to get? Like people go to these locations every single night and they're getting asked the same questions. I would get frustrated after like the third day.
yeah, like mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. Like just talk amongst each other, have conversations like what did you eat today, or whatever, just
Hmm.
just conversate. And we've had a lot of success that way. Just the other night we went to Old Park Hotel down in Texas, and we were sitting up there talking, and the next thing you know we hear a disembodied female voice, and it was audible, we all heard it. We believe it said, "Hey, ma'am," and we all turned around and we were the only ones upstairs. And so we're all asking like, "Hello, is there anybody up here?" And like, there's nobody upstairs at all. It was
Wow.
kind of creepy to begin, to say the least.
Hmm.
It was unexpected, but it was a great catch, and it's on our TikTok for anybody to view right now. So
Very nice. And speaking of social media, uh, how can we get a hold of you guys, and what sources for social media you use?
so we use mostly Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. YouTube, we just kind of upload short videos. TikTok, we use for go lives and stuff whenever people want to watch us investigate. And then Facebook, we interact with everybody there, and we also send and receive messages that way. So.
Okay. Now, speaking of live and being on social media, do you feel is it helpful when you're live and people are asking you questions, or do you feel like it's a hindrance sometimes when you're investigating, like you can't concentrate more on what you're doing because you're looking at the conversation on social media?
I think it's a little bit of both. We obviously want people to be able to experience what we experience. If we don't experience anything, that's fine. You get to watch us and how we investigate. Um, but it's also a hindrance as well because let's say you have 100 people in your live, and they're all asking questions at once, and then you got people getting upset because you're not answering their questions. Um, it's a little bit of both, I think.
Okay. Do they help you, like say, hey, why don't you try this spot in this location, or go try here in this location, see what you get? I mean, kind of like a directional kind of way of your investigating to help split things up a little bit, or like, well, we will when we get there, type of
Yeah,
deal.
I do. I do keep that information in mind. However, we have our own investigation style, and so we just kind of go with the flow and just kind of see what happens. So,
Yeah, and that makes sense. Um, Now, far as like, have you done like outside investigating, like cemeteries, different like parks or whatnot? How different is it compared to when you're in a building investigating a building versus being on the outside investigating outside? Um, do you get some stuff that way too, or do you feel it's a lot more difficult and rather not do outdoor investigations?
I we do walk cemeteries. There's been a couple times that we went live at cemeteries. Cemeteries are a little controversial to people because you know I guess the way that some people look at it is why would there be spirits walking around cemeteries if they're just empty vessels in the ground? Some people say they're kind of lingering around looking for their bodies again or whatever may have you. Um, so some people think that you're not going to get anything at cemeteries. Um, I think the one piece of equipment that we always use at cemeteries is just a spirit box. We don't take anything else with us because there's really no point.
Mhm.
You're going to get outside interference, like even with a REM pod. If there's a rapid, like a breeze, like you hear right now, or like a weather change, temperature wise, then it's going to set it off as well. So, really, the only piece of equipment that you can use is a spirit box, and also SLS cameras. They're going to detect headstones all day long, and I watch people talk to their screen because it's picking up a headstone, but you can walk around, it's going to pick up every headstone. So,
Yeah, and that makes sense. And I'll say it a lot. It makes sense because it does make sense.
exactly, like you have to research what you're researching, and if you're not doing that, what are you doing? You're not fully understanding what's really happening.
Right,
And
right.
I know some people do it as a hobby and they think it's fun, which is fine. I'm not bashing anybody who wants to go out and be streamers and all that stuff. But if you want to be like a researcher, then you gotta really kind of know how your equipment works, what's going to make it react, and why it's reacting. debunk first and then figure it out after.
Right, right. And a lot of times, I think most of the time we're just debunking the start. Um, there's a lot of noises when it comes to like it could be, um, a sink going, like the water flew through the pipes and stuff like that. You just never know what make that loud crack of a noise, and it's like, okay, now
Right.
we gotta investigate where that came from. How did it make that noise? Why did it make that noise? And then just move on about your business. And that's what Ghost Hunters, the show, they're roto rooters. They
Hmm.
can debunk a lot of that stuff because they're used to the pipes and how they sound and what makes that sound and
Right.
stuff like that. And that's helpful in investigation because they understand that point of view of how things are. Um,
Right. And we check doors at the beginning of our investigations. We see how they open, how they close, what they sound like, what causes them to open. Is there, like an open window, or is there a broken window that's causing a breeze to come in and move the door,
mhm.
or whatever, or is there like a storm front moving in and the woods expanding, because that happens. And like, I don't see anybody really doing that much, and I think it needs to be done at every location that you go to.
Yeah, I agree because it's like you said, you don't know how these things open, and it could be a make or break your investigation when it comes to video wise if you catch it.
Right.
You
And
know.
people who watch us, they know. I captured what appeared to be a shadow figure on our camera, and I was live on our TikTok when it happened. And so I went to our DVR system and found out that one of the guys that came along with us had stepped out of the doorway and didn't realize he had stepped out of the doorway. And everybody in our chat was like, "Oh my god, did you see that?" And I'm like, "That's debunked. That was somebody who's with us." You know. So
Hmm.
you have to actively debunk. And I could have sat there and said, "Yeah, that was a real anomaly or a real humanoid ghost standing in the doorway," but why would I lie to my viewers, and why would I lie to myself?
Right,
You
right.
know.
Because you're there to tell everybody what we're looking for and
Right.
what it actually is. And when it comes to that aspect, how do you feel about the SLS and the XLS cameras that with the Hangman and all that stuff? Do you feel that that's something that is useful, or do you believe that that's something that could be debunked?
Hey, what's up, James? I saw your comment. Okay, so we use SLS cameras. We don't use them, throughout the whole investigation. We might use them in like 15-minute stints.
Hmm.
Um,
Hey,
I
geez.
don't think that an SLS camera should be relied upon when doing an investigation, only because it does detect things that it shouldn't be detecting, such as chairs, headstones, anything that may have a humanoid figure. It's going to pick up on.
Hmm.
Um, and again, I've seen people sit and talk to a chair for an hour because it's picking up a chair, and it's like that's not a ghost sitting there. It's a chair it's picking up on. Like, if you do the research of an SLS camera, you'll know that it's going to pick up on chairs. So
Yeah, yeah, and I was told that the XLS reads the room a lot more better than the SLS. Like it's more like a 3D print image of the room, but it's like it flips the room in a way.
yeah, you can actually, because it creates like a 3D image of the room, and you can actually like move the screen around to see at what level it was detecting
Hmm.
and exactly where in the room. It's not like a 2D, it's actual 3D. So
Right.
yeah.
Very interesting, but it's something that I'll probably never invest my money into.
No,
Um,
God, no. I'm not going to spend $800 on one of those.
no, I mean, yes, we can go to GhostTube and use an SLS camera they have on their app there, but um, there again, it's you're using your phone. But the other thing too is, do you want to tell the people how important it is to use airplane mode on your phone?
I think using airplane mode is very, very important. However, again, if you're using Wi-Fi at a location, you have to be mindful of that too. only because Wi-Fi signals are being transferred to and from your phone, and anything that you're using EMF is going to pick up on that. So again, that's just one of those that you have to be mindful of. Now, having your phone on airplane mode and not being live or using Wi-Fi, having your Wi-Fi off as well. Um, Honestly, if I'm not going live, I don't have my phone on me. I don't even wear my smartwatch. So everything electronic besides what I'm using is away from me. So
Mhm.
just to be honest,
Right. And the walkie-talkies that we use also set off REM pods too. That's some people don't know about that because they're on the same frequency.
Yeah, just one push of the button of the walkie. You don't even have to talk on it. You just push it once and let it go. Everything that you have that's EMF is going to go nuts.
Yeah. Speaking of walkie-talkies, have you used that technique where you just let it sit on and see if anything will come through it besides using a spirit box?
I have not. I stay away from walkies for that reason.
Okay. Because I mean, we were at me and Small Town Paranormal. We were at Edinburgh Manor, and great location. If no one's been there,
Yeah,
you need to go. Um, we had walkie talkies, and just for the fact because we're in different parts of the building, we got to make sure where everybody is so they make sure they stay safe.
sure.
And so they were downstairs during the daytime trying to take a nap in one of the rooms, and I was upstairs trying to take a nap. So I left my walkie talkie on. And next thing you know, the walkie talkie starts going off like it's somebody's pushing a button and getting a static.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden they're shouting at me and like, "Are you trying to contact us through the walkie talkie?" I'm like, "No, it's like 5 feet away from me." Well, it sounds like it's going off. Like, we don't know why it's going off. And I'm like, okay, well, let's keep an eye on that. So as we went further on, next thing you know, I get a voice coming through the walkie-talkie, and it's a little girl asking for help, like it's looking for its mother.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
that's
that's crazy. I mean, it's um welcome in. But yeah, it's like, oh my god, like this girl's like asking for its mom. And so then they came upstairs and they're freaking out. And then it did it for them as they
hmm
had their walkie talkie on the bed next to mine. This one goes off, starts calling this their walkie talkie. This walkie talkie starts calling my walkie talkie. And we're not
Oh
even
wow,
touching it. And we thought, okay, well, maybe it's a truck driver, type deal. Because, they have walkie talkies
sure.
and CB radios. And so then all of a sudden it's like another voice came through, but it was my voice, like it was talking back at me.
That's crazy.
So it's like, what the hell's going on here? And so that's the experience we had with walkie talkies.
Hmm.
So that's why I brought it up. It's like you'll get something different like that when you least expect it.
Right.
But we didn't have red pods on. We did actually. I had a cigarette box REM pod, and I shut it off just for that reason because didn't want that to affect it.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, that's pretty interesting. I never really thought about using them that way. Only I've used them before, but I know how they affect the equipment, so I don't. I think I've only used a set maybe once in the last year and a half.
mhm,
Only because I went to ISS, Indiana State Sanatorium, with some people,
that's another place I want
and
to be at.
we all split up. So
Okay. Um, let's see what we got here. Okay, just kind of
oh, that's
reading what he's.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that is nuts. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm using my little monitor down below too, so so if I'm
Sure.
like this, I'm trying to read down here. uh, and for that other reason too, for those who don't really know who I am, I do have a uh, visual disability for when it comes to paranormal stuff. So, like seeing shadow people, I have a hard time. Uh, a lot of times I go off my senses too, as well. So now, if you see me losing my phone, that's why I'm trying to read it.
I always wear my special glasses 24/7. So this is kind of like what I'm known for. And then I think just this past couple days, somebody came on to our live. I was live for like 45 minutes. Like, hey, where's your glasses at, Tim? I'm like, well, I'm wearing contacts today. So they're like, oh, first time seeing me without my glasses on. It's kind of funny.
I'm waiting for computer chip pupils.
Oh, okay.
Be like the $6 billion man, you know.
Yeah, you'd be able to see anything with those.
Right? No X-ray vision. That's all right. I can deal without that. Sometimes you don't want to see what's X-ray.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
uh, so when you're talking about ISS and stuff like that, and locations that big, as we're talking about Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, um, how hard is it to investigate a location that big when you only got so many people with you and investigate? Do you feel like you got to bring another team with you?
Um, I think the only reason you would have to bring another team with you is to cut down the price. But you have to be mindful of who you're bringing with. Make sure you trust the people that you're bringing. You kind of want to see what their investigation style is because everybody has their own style,
Hmm.
and you're just going to end up contaminating each other if you guys aren't on the same page.
Okay.
And that's important because we hosted an event a couple weeks ago, and while it was a great time, you still had people that like they take a lot of breaks and they sit and they talk to each other and they're kind of loud.
Hmm.
And you don't want to be that guy to say, hey, be quiet, I'm trying to investigate, because they also paid their way in to get in too. So
Right.
um, just be mindful who you're with and who you bring with. And um, I don't normally come up with a game plan, only because I don't want to tell people what to do. I
Hmm.
want them to go off on their own and be able to investigate their way.
Hmm.
So I if somebody invites me to an investigation and they tell me that they're going to be investigating a certain way, and I have to follow that, then you can count me out. I'm not going to be involved.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I've run across that plenty of times with investigations where, okay, it's their investigation. They
Mhm.
brought you along. Okay, you get 2 hours here, you get an hour here, you get an hour there. Now we have to switch. We want you to investigate with this person. Now we want you to investigate with that person. And it's like you just couldn't go off on your own. So I totally get that because it ruins the experience for me because I want to know how the building is for myself.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, like you might be getting some good evidence somewhere, and then all of a sudden, somebody comes over the walkie-talkie, or they come walking in the room, and then there it goes. It's like, well, you're forced to go somewhere else. I'm not. Like I said, you can count me out.
yeah. And with the small town paranormal in Iowa, when we go, it's only four of us. So that's a good sized group, I think. Five is max for me. If you have more
Hmm.
than that, I think like I said, it's a hindrance because now you got too many people at a location and you're walking on top of each other. So yeah,
Yeah, we have three, so I think three's perfect.
yeah,
Um, we can all just kind of stay together. We don't have to split up. We kind of have the same investigating style. We've been investigating for 2 years together now. So, if I walk into a room where they're investigating, I can sit down and investigate along with them.
yeah. So with the Estes method and stuff like that that we got out there, and EVPs and stuff like that. What are your feelings about the SS method? And do you feel that it could be improved on, or do you think it's something that we're wasting our time with?
Um, I think it's just people do it because they want to experience something different.
Hmm.
Obviously, you're deprived of your senses, so you can't see and you can't hear anything except for what's coming through on the spirit box. And that's kind of what you're relying on. I believe that you're searching whatever question, not that you can hear them answer the question, but you're looking for words that you're trying to make sense, right? You're trying to make sense of the words. So I think that just focusing on that may be something that you're doing without knowing. It's kind of like playing with like an Ouija board or playing with dowsing rods, right? You don't know that you're doing it, but you're doing it.
Right.
I'm not discounting the SS method. I'm not discounting the Delco goggles. Like I used the Delco goggles this past weekend, and I thought they were pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I did do an SS method with the Delco goggles on, so no way am I discounting the method at all. But everybody wants to try something new, and I think it works. People ask questions and you get an immediate response back. There's times where you don't ask questions and they're not even talking. The second you ask a question, they respond right away.
Right.
So, like Kate, she can't do it. She has no clue what the spirit box is saying to her. She, she can't
Mumbo
make out what's
jumbo.
coming through. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can do it to an extent. I think after maybe 10 minutes, I'm done. I don't want to do it no more.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean, you got to
just
have
kind of get claustrophobic.
right. You got to have a keen ear for what you're listening for.
Yeah.
For those that are deaf or have a hard time of hearing, it's not going to work out well for you. But then again, if you're deaf, you're going to rely on your sight more than your ears, obviously. And that's what I do. I rely on my ears a lot more than my sight
Hmm.
and my senses, and how I feel the room, what kind of energy is it putting off,
Right.
and stuff like that. So that's one of the things how I usually go about it, and gives me a good sense of what the location is putting out. So
Right.
in other words, read the room. Um, so you were just recently on a trip down to Texas. You want to let the people know what that was about and what the event was?
Yeah. So I got invited along with a couple of people. One of my really good friends that is on Crossline Paranormal also runs the Echo Veteran Project. I'm not gonna announce him by name, but we got invited to the OPIF event, the Operation Pay It Forward, that's run by military veterans. Um, we, being that I'm a military veteran, I got invited as well, and I thought it was pretty cool event. They got the veterans involved, and the trip was paid for and all that stuff. It was a really cool experience watching them kind of get out of their own elements and not deal with normal everyday stuff that they deal with. So
Yeah. And that event, you said, it happens once or twice a year.
yeah, they just started doing paranormal investigations about 2 years ago, and so this is something that they've been doing for about 2 years now, where they once a year or so they take a group of veterans out and do paranormal investigating. Um, the guy that runs the Echo Veterans Project, he invited me, being an experienced paranormal investigator as well as a veteran. Like I said, he wanted somebody experienced to go along with him, so we can kind of show them, kind of like walk them through how it all works and how the equipment works and stuff. So
Right. Right. And then they asked you to be an ambassador. That's correct.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Which
So
I'm thinking about. Obviously, it's going to be something different. So
yeah,
I
a
don't
lot to
want it
take
to. I don't
on.
want it to interfere with like my life and like Kate and all that stuff. So I have to make sure that we're both okay with it.
Right. and that's a good way about going with it. I mean, it's an honor to be asked to do that, but yet you got to make
Hmm.
sure it makes sense for both of you. Um,
Right.
so,
Could be wrong.
um, but yeah, I mean that's a pretty cool thing. It's something that I've never heard of before, and it's exciting that they're willing to expand and do something like that, being a military veteran and stuff like that. So um, it gives them a peace of mind of doing something different, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So, so I got a few pieces of your devices that you guys sell, and if you want to explain a little bit of these devices right here and tell them what it does, and um, how about to get these devices?
What? She's at work. Yeah, so that is our PIR music box. It uses a PIR sensor to detect temperature deviations.
Hmm.
Um, and when it does detect temperature, it will like a change in temperature. It'll play like a 2 second sound. It does have different sections of one tune that'll play the full tune in three different sections. If that makes sense.
Yep. A lot of times, music boxes are different. They do cost a lot more, different sites and different locations. But I find this more useful because it's small, it's compact, and the speaker on it is loud enough for me to hear. And that's what I look for in a device. So, and you
Have
can't
you?
open
So
it up.
let me ask you a question. Have you had any luck with that on investigations yet?
Yes and no. It depends on how I set it up. Either I stand it straight up or I lay it down.
Okay.
If I stand it straight up, it shoots out pretty far.
Hmm.
So it's like you got to be out of the line of sight basically for it to work when you do it that way. Now, when you lay it down, uh, obviously there has to be like kind of like on top of it or in front of it.
Right.
So that's the
I
two
usually
pieces.
I usually use those like down hallways and stuff. If I'm in a room, I'll face it a different direction,
Yeah,
just to see if there's anything coming down in different directions. It's useful for that. So
right. But I do like it because, like I said, it's compact, it's not shiny, and it's well made. So,
thank you.
and now the next device, which is another one I've been wanting to get for a while, and this is one of your REM pods.
Yeah. It's yep.
Again, well made wood. I like it because it's simple. But now you do have a newer version of a REM pod out there, I believe, correct?
We actually so as of right now we stopped making them.
Okay.
There is a different version of them that we can make. We decided to go with the wood because Kate's very artistic and she likes she can do customized REMs for people. All the equipment that we use is all customizable except for the newer equipment that we just started building. Um, but yeah, there's two different versions of the REMs, and one of the versions that I found like I'm having a lot of issues with some of the components that are coming in
Hmm.
and they're not working. So I'm actually spending more money on replacing components than I am actually making one device. So as of right now, we're not making that version of the REM. So
Okay. And that's useful for people to know, just in case. And the next one is my favorite by far, and this is the ESPM.
yeah, so you got the limited edition blue that we
Yes,
we were making. Yep.
it's got sensors in the
So
front.
that's what my favorite device that I love using on all our investigations currently.
Hmm.
That one, it took me about 8, 9 months to um, think about, engineer, and get it up on the market. So there was a lot of thought um, and stuff going into it. It you
Right.
know um, Pretty much every day I came home from work, I was sitting down researching for months. Finally got it to work. That thing it's a powerhouse device for any investigator to have. It has three different sensors in it
Hmm.
that detects three different things. The two sensors that you see in front, that's an ultrasonic sensor, and that actually detects air density. So if there's any like heaviness in the air, it'll pick that up. Also has a four LED array on top, so it has a green, two yellows, and a red, which act as distance LEDs. So it'll tell you how far the anomaly is in front of that device by using LEDs. On the side, it has an exterior temperature sensor. There's also a temperature sensor on the inside too. They kind of talk to each other. So if there's an actual temperature change, it'll ask the other sensor, "Hey, are you detecting that?" And if it says yeah, by 3 degrees, it'll set the temperature off.
Hmm.
And then at the top there, to the left of the power light, you'll see that there's another LED that will turn blue or red depending on the temperature change,
Hmm.
along with a sound emission, so you'll know. And then also on the inside, there is a pressure sensor that detects air pressure. So um, the air pressure will, if there's again a heaviness in the air that you feel like you can feel, that device will detect it. So it's one of our favorite pieces of equipment.
And you also could adjust the distance from 10 feet to 3 feet, correct?
Yeah, 3 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet. Yep.
Yeah. And the best way to use this device is on a tripod, correct? Which we have a tripod
Yep.
thing there at the bottom.
Yep. So on the bottom there's a tripod mount. There is an option to purchase a tripod with the device as well. If you do purchase a tripod with the device, the shipping's free. So you know, I would I have a lot of people purchasing tripods with it, which is great because it's recommended to use a tripod. You can use a standard tripod, 4 foot, 5 foot, whatever you want to use, or you can set it up on a high counter. But you can also set it on the floor. We're trying to make devices not on the floor, So
Right.
I don't. I guess we're trying to figure out why every piece of a device that's being made. Why are we setting them on the floor? Like
Like cat balls. We just kick them.
yeah, yep.
Speaking of that, do you think you would ever come up with a different way for a cat ball use?
Um, there's there's only so many ways that you can use a cat ball. I I don't tend to use them very often.
Hmm.
I do have a video posted on our TikTok of an actual, cat ball being pushed off a piano, um, which is very interesting because we tried to reenact that for 2 nights that we were there, and we couldn't get it to happen again. However, um, like people, they just turn them on, they throw them, and they just kind of wait for them to go off. So I don't. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really use them often. So
It's like Josh Hurd kicking a cat ball
yeah.
or
If you
misstepping
talk
on
to
one.
if you talk to Josh Hurt often, you'll see him in his live, or if you catch him, he'll be kicking cat balls left and right all night long. So
And Josh Hurd, he runs Melver Manor and a newly jail that him and Tori
yes,
have purchased. So that would
yep,
probably be the next on your to-go list. So,
correct.
but
Just so everybody's aware, that ESPN unit that you just showed, the blue one,
yep.
those are only $149 a piece. So all of our equipment that we sell it's very affordable,
Hmm.
and 25% of what we're making off devices currently is going to Sleep Mortuary to help fix the AC there. So um,
Good deal.
just so everybody's aware of that.
Yep. And they come in. The blue is just a limited now. We did talk off camera about an updated version that you were kind of working on.
Hmm.
Is that going to be in the same wood color, or would that be in a black color?
Um, so as of right now, we're only selling the black. I can get the blue in if people want them.
Okay.
Um, we had, everybody bought out the 4 blue that we had. The only problem is that I don't 3D print them. I have a friend of mine that 3D prints them, and so I'm kind of at the mercy of what he's able to get. And
Right.
right now, he said that like plastic, everywhere that he tries to purchase plastic, it's being bought out, and so
Jeez.
yeah,
Just when you get started and then you run into a bump like that.
yeah.
Um,
We do now make the TD25 as well. I'll
I
get
was
into
just gonna
that.
bring that up. Yep. Just gonna
Yep.
bring it up.
So the TD25 is a device that I'm sorry, but I don't have one to show. I just sent it out today in the mail. So it's engineered to stand on a 4 foot tripod. It's designed to detect humanoid shaped anomalies. Um, you can switch it from 4 feet to 8 feet. It has 2 different LED strips that you can disconnect and connect the other one to. And it comes with a protective plastic case. So you get the tripod, the device itself, and the 2 LED strips and the protective case all all in the unit itself upon purchase. But that one it uses lidar technology, and it actively maps the room that it's in, and if anything comes in contact with it, it will track in real time. Meaning, if it continues to get closer to the unit, it will continue to track it along the LED strip, and then it will actually stop tracking when it uh, when it stops detecting. It'll stop tracking it and then stop for 5 seconds to show you exactly where it was last hit at, and then it'll continue to run normally. And that one is a rechargeable unit, so no batteries needed. Just plug it in, charge it, and take it out.
That's the best way. How most of the equipment now is coming these days is Type C battery charge. I actually got batteries that I charge up by Type C. So
Hmm.
I'm sick and tired of buying batteries all the time. So I just do that with the batteries. Um, so basically, you know how a company that shall not be named has a tracer,
Hmm.
um, but this is like a tracer but on steroids.
Pretty much. So the tracer kind of sits on the floor, and it only detects what's ground level. This one will detect. It has a long wire that you can attach. It's going to hang down to the floor,
Mhm.
but it's engineered to detect humanoid shaped spirits, like anomalies. And there's no other device that's doing that. Like, why are we still trying to detect stuff at ground level? That's one thing that I've talked to somebody about. We just don't understand why they're continuing to make stuff that is all ground level.
Right.
There's plenty of times that I've seen spirits waist up, and I don't see the legs, like it's all waist up. So how is a tracer going to be able to detect something that is undetectable?
Right. Right.
Um, so that's kind of like our thought process on it is, if there's an actual full shaped humanoid anomaly in that room with you, you have that whole entire 4 foot that's going to detect it.
Mhm. So what I usually did with a tracer is I would pair it with a fog machine. What are your
Okay.
thoughts about a fog machine and pairing it with that? Do you think that would be a good combination?
I don't think so. I guess it depends. I don't have a tracer, so I can't really tell you how it operates. But did the fog actually interfere with the tracer at all?
No, it basically illuminates the line, and
Okay.
so that way we can tell if there's footsteps being made forward or backwards and stuff like that, and basically try to catch um, a full body of apparition and stuff.
So I have a question for you on that then, and this is just like just a general question. If it cannot detect the density of fog, how is it going to detect the density of a spirit?
That is one to think about.
I'm just asking that question because I talked to somebody who has a tracer. They said it never triggered. They have never had it trigger. but spirits manifest, and they may be just, barely visible. They might be, see-through, but if you cannot detect the density of fog, you're not going to be able to detect the density of that spirit. And like that's basically why we create devices, because you can go spend $400, $500 on a tracer wire. You spend $250 on ours, and it's going to be able to detect the density of that.
Excellent point. Excellent point. And that's what this is about too, because that helps me understand what goes through the process of your mind when you're trying to make these devices. And
Yep.
yeah, definitely asked me a question about it, and it's like, okay, now you got me thinking. Okay, that is a very logical answer and a good different point of view of looking at things. So that's what I look for. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. This is
Um,
why I do my research, and why I make the things I do, because there's nothing on the market that is going to do the things that ours does. We don't copy nobody. We don't try to. That's not what we're about. We only research and develop things based on the things that we experience on our investigations. So,
okay. So we are a little bit beyond top of
yep.
the hour here, but real quick, do you have a top 5 bucket list yet?
Bucket list.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't really thought about it, because we've gone on so many investigations. Like, we're still planning, but we're getting married in a few months, so we kind of stopped doing that currently.
Ah,
Um,
I jumped the gun and began the podcast. Sorry.
we do want to go to Waverly. However, like, if I do go to Waverly, I'm going to experience it without the tour.
Okay.
Um, and I only say I want to go to Waverly because Kate loves going to hear the history.
Mhm.
If we get any activity, obviously it's a plus, but um, I don't know. Like, everywhere that we go is it's a phenomenal location, So we don't really have bucket lists anymore. It's just, hey, we're gonna go here and we're gonna go there. It's like, okay, cool.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way. So like I said, we're above the top of the hour. You want to give a plug real quick and how people get a hold of you, and what the name of your website?
Sure. So we are Two Souls Paranormal Research. Two Souls Paranormal on Facebook, Two Souls Paranormal on TikTok, and Two Souls Paranormal Research on YouTube. You can get to our website by going to twosoulsparanormal.square.site. And on there you can find all of our equipment and everything that we're currently doing. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thank you very much for joining us tonight on the podcast, and definitely have you back on revisit on the new gear that you got coming out, and get to take a look at
Absolutely.
the TD25. And with that, you guys can catch us on Paranormal Brew on Facebook or YouTube as well. MGS Paranormal 4258 on YouTube, and where else I may decide to stream on yet. I'm not sure. There might be more locations coming. So with that, Tim, thank you for joining us tonight, and you all have a great night. I bid you adieu. So long, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.